Every electric vehicle motor,
every wind turbine,
every fighter jet guidance system needs a handful of minerals with names most people can't pronounce. Neodymium, dysprosium, terbium, and one country controls, by a wide margin, the processing of nearly all of them. It's not the country that mines the most rare earth ore, it's the country that refines it into anything usable. Here's a twist people miss. Rare earths aren't actually that rare in the ground. They're scattered in low concentrations across many countries, including the US, Australia, and parts of Africa. What's genuinely scarce is the refining capability, separating 17 chemically similar elements from each other and from the toxic byproducts of mining requires enormous environmentally intensive processing infrastructure that took decades to build. China built it. Almost nobody else did. The result: China processes a large majority of the world's rare earths and an even higher share of certain critical magnet-grade materials, the ones that go directly into the permanent magnets used in EV motors and wind turbine generators. Even rare earth ore mined outside China, including material mined in the United States, is frequently shipped to China for processing because that's where the refining capacity actually exists at scale. This gives China a choke point that operates almost identically to the ASML story, but for a physical mineral supply chain instead of a manufacturing technology. In past trade disputes, China has demonstrated willingness to use export licensing on rare earths and rare earth magnets as leverage, restricting shipments during periods of trade tension, which sends shockwaves through automakers, defense contractors, and electronics manufacturers who suddenly can't source a component with no ready substitute. Every major EV manufacturer, Tesla, the Chinese automakers, European legacy manufacturers converting their lineups, depends on rare earth magnets for the most efficient motor designs. Some manufacturers are pursuing magnet-free motor designs specifically to reduce this exposure, but those alternatives typically sacrifice efficiency or add cost, meaning the industry-wide transition away from rare earth dependence is a multi-year engineering undertaking, not a quick fix available to any single company today. The defense dimension makes this even more serious. Modern fighter jets, precision-guided munitions, and submarine systems all depend on rare earth magnets and specialty alloys, which means a major Western defense industrial base is, to varying degrees, dependent on a supply chain running through a strategic rival's refining infrastructure, a vulnerability that has prompted the US, EU, and allied governments to fund alternative processing capacity, though building that capacity from near zero takes years and enormous capital. This is where Africa enters the story directly. The continent holds significant rare earth and critical mineral deposits, from Malawi to the Democratic Republic of Congo to newer discoveries across West and Southern Africa. The strategic question for African governments isn't simply whether to mine and export raw ore. That captures the least value in the entire chain. It's whether African nations can build even partial refining and processing capacity domestically, capturing more of the value rather than repeating the extractive export pattern of the 20th century, this time for critical minerals instead of gold and cocoa. For businesses and governments building resource strategy, the rare earth story reinforces a consistent theme across this channel. Raw material control matters less than processing control. Whoever refines the mineral, builds the machine, or owns the choke point captures the strategic leverage, not necessarily whoever has the resource in the ground. The rare earth trap is a reminder that the green energy transition doesn't eliminate resource dependency. It just relocates it from oil beneath the ground in the Middle East to refined minerals processed almost entirely in one country. Anyone building an EV defense or clean energy strategy needs to price that dependency in.
This is the Katakyie Brief.
While everyone talks about the military side of geopolitics, we track the boardrooms, the balance sheets, and the breakthroughs that quietly redraw the map. Because the next war for power won't just be fought with weapons, it'll be fought with technology,
Capital,
and ideas. If you want to stay ahead of that shift, subscribe, share this with someone building in the space, and follow for the next brief. Stay sharp, stay ahead. This is the Katakyie Brief.